let her tell it. People on the streets say Sabrina speaks. Tune into the show, she will let you know. Tell all your friends and family. Real talk is no joke. You get the news straight up from grassroots and concerned. You can hear with some people gone. So tell all your friends to tune in to the
Good evening,
show.
Cayman. I'm Sabrina Turner, and welcome to Sabrina Speaks, your daily dose of clarity, truth, and community insights. Every weekday from 5 to 6:30 p.m., we're tackling the issues that affect you, from national headlines to grassroots concerns. Whether you're in traffic or winding down your day, this is your chance to hear it straight and speak your truth. So buckle up, Cayman. We're not holding back.
This is the show. We gotta let you know. Now we got to go.
And now here's Sabrina.
Yes, and hello to our global family. There I am. Couldn't find myself for a second. OMG, it must be Friday. But welcome to another episode of Sabrina Speaks, Voices of the Islands, Conversations for the World, and the podcast where voices rise, stories unfold, and inspiration takes center stage. It's good to be back with you today. I'm your host, Sabrina, and yeah, happy Friday. The weekend is finally here, and guess what? There's so much things you should actually be smile and be fabulous. Yeah. Why not? Don't let anybody take your joy. Don't make anybody steal anything from you. It's Happy Friday, and I am encouraging everyone to smile and be fabulous. The weekend is here. And on today's episode, oh my God, what a jam-packed 3 days we have had. And, this conversation will go into next week, I'm telling you, just to make sure that we cover it ahead of Thursday, which will be the 11th. Yes, and the mic is open this evening for voices. I want to hear from you. It's time to exhale, reflect, and lean into the conversations that really matters most. And tonight I am going to turn our attention. Yes, it's still going to be there, but it's open mic. With this Immigration Transition Amendment and Validation Bill of 2025, because it isn't just another piece of legislation. You will hear me repeat this. You hear me repeating things. It's a reason why I'm doing it, right? It touches all their families, our future, and the very fabric of our Caymanian identity. And so with respect and diplomacy, we want to call on our elected officials. We want to call on them to engage in real public consultations. Let Caymanians be heard, not feeling like an afterthought, but as the heartbeat of the process. Because, they're the laws that shape our lives, which this will actually do, must be built with us and not around us. But also, this weekend isn't only about dialogue as we go in and wrap up this week here. It's also about community, because tomorrow, Saturday, on Cardinal Avenue and Albert Panton Street, yes, those two streets will come alive. Yes, it will be the small business holiday market, and that will be from 4 until 10. And it's our chance to support our entrepreneurs, discover local treasures, and celebrate with creativity that keeps our economy vibrant. So I'm encouraging all of you to go out and bring your families, bring your friends too, tell them, and let's make it a community affair. So yeah, that's tomorrow. And even on Sunday, that'll be Cayman Thanksgiving. Cayman Thanksgiving is this Sunday, and a day of us giving thanks. Yes, a day of us giving thanks for our blessings and our resilience in our unity as people. So whether it is your decision to gather around a table under some almond tree, licking some dominoes or some ludi, whatever it is, and you may even want to attend a church service or simply reflect quietly. Let's carry gratitude into the weekend as well. But the content you're about to hear, including any discussions or opinions from myself, guests, and or participants, is intended solely for general informational and entertainment purposes. It's not a substitute for professional legal, medical, or financial advice. I encourage you to consult with a qualified professional for specific concerns. Bridge Media Limited and all its affiliates disclaims all liability for any decisions or actions taken in reliance on the information presented. And don't forget to follow Sabrina Turner, community activist on Facebook. And you can also find me on YouTube. That's at Sabrina Speaks, the number 12. You just search for me there and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And again, thank you for all of those persons who've just started following. You're definitely not going to be left out of the loop. I appreciate it. Please note, I'm asking you to do this so you don't miss me in case there are days that we go in overtime and I got to cut the feed on all of, let's say, the CMR feeds and the CMRTV.com. Because this evening, this is the lineup show, and there's going to be another show at 7 o'clock called Authentic. And 8 o'clock, it's Throwing It Down with Chef Brown. And there's also going to be Real Talk tonight at 10, Love and Lies. So you understand when I say I gotta go, but if there's ever a chance or an opportunity that the conversation is that sweet, I will continue to engage with you here, but it will only be on the Sabrina Turner community activist page and the Sabrina Speaks YouTube channel page. So that's the only how. So to avoid you having to scramble around, missing out on the conversation, you go ahead and subscribe and follow right now and share that with your friends in the event that that ever happens. But I got to do a hard stop at 7 o'clock to give way for Authentic. Yeah, so that is the lineup for CMRTV.com for tonight. So yeah, at the end of the day, that is what it's going to be like. So 345-936-8255 is the number to call or WhatsApp me on should you want to participate in the discussions as we go on here. Now, we know lots of parties. Christmas parties are started already. Yeah, Christmas parties have already started. Good for you guys. But for the weekend, if you're actually out there and trying to do those, I wouldn't say last minute house preparations, or maybe you are actually doing the finishing touches. Me. Yeah, doing the finishing touches. Let's see what the weather's going to look like if you got to go out tomorrow to get that last piece of curtain or that bed and bag or that nice comforter set or those Christmas mats. This is what the weather's going to look like for tonight. The synopsis is calling for some isolated showers that will remain likely through the early weekend as a surface trough drifts across the Western Caribbean. Today, with residual moisture lingering through Saturday afternoon. Now, satellite analysis indicates scattered low-level clouds with some convection noted across the sister islands and west of Grand Cayman. Tonight's forecast calls for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers. Temperatures will fall to the mid-70s. Winds will be easterly at 5 to 10 knots. Seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Tomorrow's forecast calls for partly cloudy skies with cloudy spells and a 40% chance of showers through the late afternoon. Hope that don't mess up tomorrow's evening plans. Temperatures will rise to the upper 80s with a heat index of near 97. Winds will be east to southeast 5 to 10 knots. Seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Now, there was a low tide at 4:22 this evening, and a high tide will be at 9:28 tonight. Tomorrow calls for a low tide at 4:03 a.m. and a high tide at 11:03. The sun will set at 5:45 this evening, and sunrise tomorrow morning is at 6:47. Tomorrow, the sunset will be at 5:45. The outlook is for a decrease in cloudiness and a chance of showers from Saturday evening as the trough continues to drift into the Bay of Honduras. A gradual decrease in winds and seas is also expected as the winds begin to veer east-southeast through the weekend as a ridge of high pressure builds across the central Atlantic. So there you go. You'll know whether or not you need to take your umbrellas or whether or not you just bask in the moment for whatever plans you have. You can't say you didn't hear it here. Right. That's how we do it. But yeah, it wouldn't be nice for me to end the week. February was a busy month. Happy birthday, Miss Joy Basdeo. Celebrating her birthday today. And we celebrate with her as we do here on Sabrina Speaks. And wishing you many, many more, Ms. Basdeo. I hope you're having a wonderful birthday and gonna just carry that through the weekend. Wishing you all the best and many, many more to come. There we go. Another lady. Yes, Miss Eleanor Wood. Everyone may know her as Ellie. Yeah. Ellie's also celebrating her birthday today, and we're going to big her up. That family. I can make you know that now. She family. That is my Nicaraguan side of the family. Yeah, Bluefield side of the family. So, Ellie, we are celebrating with you today, all the Sharon and Gladstone and Karen and Pedro, everybody. Now, everybody, happy birthday to you. Many, many more. Alex, everybody, love of your life. Happy birthday and wishing you many, many more to come. Hope you have a blast this weekend and that you had a wonderful day. So, yeah, let's see who's here. Anna Maria. Hello, how are you? Damian Henry, happy Friday to you as well. And cheers to the weekend. And you notice I haven't been chairing at the beginning of these Friday shows because the topics of my Christ have been so it's been serious. So I've been behaving myself and really I've been going out as well some Friday nights afterwards. So it's not that I've actually pulled away. I just your girl behaving. Yeah, because people like Miss Rose will just put me in line. Yeah. Gary, how are you? Exactly, Sabrina. Put us first. Oh, yeah, we got to. We got to. Happy Friday to you, Connie Bonnie. How you doing, my love? Chelsea, and it is a pleasure to have you all here. But like I said, 936-8255 is the number to call to join in the conversation. We are making clarion call to our leaders to have real public consultation. And as I said, we'll go into this later into the show. But at the end of the day, this is an open mic segment for you guys today. I have been loading you up with a lot of information, some sobering information shared with you yesterday as well. However, I want to, for all of you just joining us, welcome. For you just tuning in, it's Wind Down Friday, and it's an open mic segment as well. Hey, Marshall, how you doing, my love? Yeah, it's open mic segment tonight as well. And I want to remind us for those of you to talk a little bit of something about small businesses since we're going into that part of the weekend as well. But at any time, call in, feel free, and I will definitely engage with you. But the mic is yours this evening to give us your viewpoint. I have been giving you a lot of information, what I've been reading, what I've been interpreting. Now, I'm not speaking on behalf of the government. I'm not speaking on behalf or for the minister, neither the government nor the opposition. It's just sharing with you for context, which is what I'm hearing about. And I'll go into that when we get into that segment. That you have more questions than answers right now based on what we've been sharing. But again, I can understand where there was somewhat of a void before, that there haven't really been a forum of anything of this nature where anybody really sat down and went through it line by line like this before. And I thank you for all of your feedback, be it live or post show after the fact. But it does make a world of a difference when you actually chime in and you be a part of the live discussion so that we all can learn together. But When you think of, I want to encourage everyone, for those persons, as gentle reminder, this Saturday out on Cardinal Avenue, and the importance of small business and why attending these events for small businesses especially really matter. From 4 o'clock until 10 o'clock tomorrow, there will be the small business market out in town. And, at the end of the day, we need to support local entrepreneurs, and more so small businesses, because they have their own set of challenges. Bearing in mind, every purchase that you make from a small entrepreneur is a vote in their confidence, and also in Cayman creativity. It builds their confidence when you support small business. I see that all the time because I support a lot of small businesses here, from attire, clothing, straight down to home accessories, pots, you name it. Sabrina shop local. And I know what it is to be a small business and being an entrepreneur. So that's why I have the respect for them. I support all of them, but more so I have a different level of respect for all small business owners. But this is why it is important for us to support local entrepreneurs, because it really is a serious vote in their confidence and Caymanian creativity. And also the uniqueness by supporting local entrepreneurs that you find from gift ideas, as it is the holiday season now. And you can forget mass production imports when it comes to small business and supporting our artisans. You get one of a kind in many cases. And many a times these are handmade crafts. And talking about food, oh yeah, local delicacies. You can't order that on Amazon. And again, there are one of a kind treasures. I want to thank Dean Gillette. I have a little Christmas token from him. Oh, that's so sweet of him. An ornament to put on either somewhere to display it, and I will share it here with you. I'll get that from him either over the weekend or by Monday. So I'll definitely share that with you again. And that's why I am so it touches me when it comes to small business support and supporting small businesses. And you know what it also do? It actually, markets like this and events like this for small business, it strengthens our community bonds, because I'm hoping that the crowds that this will draw tomorrow, again, will leave a mark to show who we really are and bring out people to see and support and just motivate and encourage all of those persons who are participating. And when you look at this type of event, they're just, you call it a Christmas market, holiday market, whatever you want to call it. There's also going to be a competition. We'll have carolers. We'll have persons singing out there. There'll be live entertainment as well. Situations and events like this are more than just commerce side of things, They are networking and social hubs. That is the time and the place where we really boast and walk with Caymanian pride. And it brings neighbors together. And who to tell, it sparks conversation, and it also aids with reminding us that we're stronger when we come together. And you will, again, keep hearing me say that. And the economic empowerment that these things actually do. Yes, don't think because they're small. They are powerful. And that's why your attendance helps small business grow. And again, building confidence, which turns into strengths into our economy. And, who to tell? You may buy a handmade ornament and you'll see that and you'll remember the experience. You'll remember more than likely all of the people that you met when you were actually doing that purchase. So it is amazing what can come out from these events. But I really hope that you all go down there tomorrow and that you'll hail me up if you see me. And I was out today, but nobody didn't. I didn't get. I ended up back at Kirk's again. Oh God, I ended up back at Kirk's. Kirk's Home Center. Oh yeah. But small businesses in any economy, guys, plays a huge role. You know how much jobs small businesses actually create? They are, in most cases, are the largest employers in small economies. I bet you didn't know that. Yeah, because they provide opportunities for young people where some of the big ones wouldn't necessarily give young persons a chance, and for families and for those who even want to stay rooted to community. That's what these small businesses do with job creation. And then when you're looking at innovative and diversification of what services are out there, they are nimble. Yeah, these small business are nimble, and they can happen very quickly. And then some of those just get there at the right time, providing the right service or products, and they just balloon. And the good thing about them as well is that they bring, in many cases, unique products and services, and includes lots of our cultural expressions that big corporations may actually overlook. So go out with a keen eye tomorrow. And it's amazing the resilience that small businesses actually have. Because in times of crisis, trust me, I know one. I know a number of them, to be honest with you, whether it be hurricane or global recessions or even pandemics. Small businesses adapt very quickly because they're used to the struggle. They are used to the struggle. You know how much small businesses saved big companies after Ivan? Huh. The stories, let me tell you, the stories are out there. And, at the end of the day, many a times they were the first to open and the first to pivot back very quickly as well. So it's more than just attending that tomorrow. It's more to give you a little synopsis on exactly what that is all about. And there's a reason why I'm taking this opportunity to delve into this for you, to show you the importance of attending tomorrow's event and what it means for every vendor, every artisan, every person out there that may be cooking food and all that sort of stuff tomorrow. When you really check out the tourism and the global identity, visitors don't come here for chain stores. They come for the authentic Caymanian experience. They come here to find Caymanian crafts, taste our food, enjoy our Caymanian music, and just feel the vibes and the spirit of Caymanians. And really and truly, small businesses are ambassadors. They are ambassadors of that. So when you think and talk about resilience, standing strong in storms, you're thinking about small businesses. And that's why supporting them is one of the most practical ways that we all could give them resilience. So this weekend, definitely do more than just shop. Go out and support that market, and let's invest in our people. Let's celebrate Cayman ingenuity. Let us make small business this market, this event, not just an event, but a statement, a loud statement that we believe in our entrepreneurs, that we believe that, they are of value. We know they value our culture, and that we are committed to building an economy that works for everyone. So yeah, there we go. Lavana, how you doing? Hope you're feeling better and you're continuing to be on the mend. Yes, it is good to be back. I know a lot of you are out happy houring and definitely shopping. The stores are going to be extending their hours, I think, as of next week. So I am very much aware of that. So remember again that we want to actually go out tomorrow evening in town from 4 to 10, Cardinal Avenue and Albert Panton Street. That will be the place to be this Saturday. And there's lots of stuff going on. Oh my God, the circus is in town. I think the that triad, is it a walkathon or whatever? There's some run that is also on Sunday. There's so much going on Cayman Thanksgiving. Yeah, there's lots of things going on, and I just want to make sure that we be safe on the roads as we also go out there. And especially tonight, we have been having a lot. Kudos, congratulations to the RCIPS and all of the government agencies that are putting together that campaign for road safety. And I'm going to be speaking to how some of those videos were actually made coming up, hopefully next week. so that we can get, we'll be speaking to them as well. But it's sobering. They're real people on the other ends of those calls, and it's real stories. And I can see the reason behind the messages that are being sent from each person that has created the video, because they got to hold it together. And more so, they're not taking calls in a different country. These reflections, this reminiscent of them reminiscing about doing their jobs and what's impacting them, are happening right here. And they just got to do what they got to do. So kudos to everyone that made that campaign. And I'm hoping that you're seeing the videos. I have some of them here, but I will showcase some of them next week because I wanted today to be about you guys. I wanted you guys to be a part of the conversation. Like I said, we have a hard stop at 7 o'clock tonight. And because of making way for authentic. And I'm just trying to get disciplined as well. No. So at the end of the day, that was a question that I got. The answer is no, not enough. But yeah, I'm hoping that, at the end of the day, you will appreciate what we're doing here as the questions come through. And again, before we go into that whole section, but if you call, we will stop. If you called, if you participate, if you reflect on what I said yesterday, we will stop and we will just delve right into it. Again, this Sunday, we pause for something uniquely ours. Yes, Cayman Thanksgiving. Cayman Thanksgiving is this Sunday. And for those of you who don't know what it is or just about hearing it now, it isn't a holiday, just a holiday, because it's Sunday. It's not a public holiday. It is a day on a calendar that was reserved for us to give thanks and show gratitude. It's homegrown tradition, born from our people's resilience and faith. And also, it's given thanks for our protection through the hurricane season and blessings of family and community and the beauties of these islands that we so love and so many of you love to call home. So let's give it the respect that it is due. And, it's always celebrated on the first Sunday of December. And we are definitely going to make this year no different. I know that some Cabana is definitely doing a huge celebration. I think they're doing their Sunday brunch. I stand to be corrected, but I know for sure they're bringing back they have brought back their farm to table. Shame on me. Luigi is supposed to come on to let us know about that. And think of this Sunday as Cayman's way of saying we made it through another season and we're still standing strong, but standing strong together. And whether you do it with friends, whether you decide you're going to go for brunch, or you just make it a traditional Cayman Sunday dinner with a flair of Thanksgiving and you share testimony. I don't know how you do it, whatever you want to do it. The key is enjoying the experience, understanding the meaning of the celebration and just embracing it. That is it. Yeah. So, it wouldn't be complete without food. Oh, yeah. Because when I tell you about Cayman Cabana, it is also what's going to be happening in some of our very own kitchens this Sunday. And from Cayman style beef to turtle meat, conch stew, we got to have lobster as well. Cayman style lobster or lobster, however you want to do it. And even for those persons who are maybe not meat eaters, but they may be vegetarians. Well, I can tell you what, you can actually go to Cayman Cabana and they actually have pumpkin stew. They have plantain dishes and, they ain't short of cassava cake. Now, I think I got it from him that he has the vendors. He's willing to deal with our local vendors. Big up to Rhonda. Big up to Miss Aldine. Oh, my God. Yeah, Aldine. Yeah, her. Yes. Between that cassava and cornmeal custard top. Yes, it's that time of the year again. But yeah, All of these dishes as well can also be gotten at Cayman Cabana. That's one thing with him. He definitely makes sure that he covers it for everyone, so you can just enjoy the ambiance and everything. So this Sunday, remember, Cayman Thanksgiving arrives, and let's give it a chance to pause. Let's give thanks by being spared for being spared this hurricane season, and let's give thanks to our families and our communities and our islands. Yep. Whether you celebrate, I don't know what your menu is going to be like. This is your Cayman, and this is your Thanksgiving. So let's celebrate it together. I've heard so much about American Thanksgiving. Oh my God. I need ours to be on steroids like that, but more family tradition, you know? Yeah, that's what we want to do. Yeah. Now, this is our way of saying thanks and celebrating, and we can do that any day of the week. Now, as I said, over the past 3 days here on this platform, we have ventilated. I have tried my best on the discussion of the proposed Immigration Transition Amendment and Validation Bill of 2025. And what has become increasingly clear in that is that the public, privately, third, fourth party, that the public right now feels somewhat that they're left in the dark. That's what's coming back. The Honorable Minister referenced that there were 15 amendments, yet to date, I'm not aware that anything has been stated publicly of what those amendments are. Nor have the regulations been made available. Without this information, Caymanians cannot fully understand the scope, the impact, or the intent of this bill. Let me make myself clear. This is not about politics. It's about process, transparency, and trust. And from what I'm hearing, even as I go to the various stores and so forth, and people realize who I am and they start talking and yada, 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 then it usually is followed by a number of questions, again, asking for further clarity, but they ask it in a question that allows me to expound and answer from a perspective of how they understand it, and then I answer it based on my interpretation. But the people are asking for more clarity. They're asking for more context. They're asking, bottom line, for more time to review what is being proposed before taking it to the floor of Parliament. That's what they're asking for. Now, on this platform, on the Sabrina Speaks platform, I have taken a measured, nonpartisan approach. I have merely provided a forum for dialogue, questions, and of course, at times, possibly, respectful debate. Opinions, because they matter. But this bill should not be rushed. That's what it's feeling like. I'm reporting back. For full disclosure, I'm reporting back. People are saying they need to see the regulations. They need to know, not at the committee stage amendment, they need to know what the 15 amendments are and have their say before it's being debated. That's all they're asking. They want to know what the 15 amendments are. Now, personally, I stand to be corrected if there's somewhere out there in La La Land and I don't see it. I am the first to say I have not seen it. If the regulations are out there, I haven't seen them. Okay? I stand to be corrected. If they're out there and somebody knows that they're out there in the public's domain, please forward them. Sabrina Speaks, the number 12 at gmail.com. You can also send it 936-8255 as an attachment via WhatsApp. Okay? So tonight, on behalf of all of those persons, directly and indirectly, are asking that we call on the elected arm of government and ask them not to rush this process simply just for a tick a box exercise. They're asking for real engagement and real, true public consultation, not what feels like a sales pitch, but they are asking for their voices to be honored. Honor the voices of the people, because they are also realizing that these laws actually are shaping the future and is built on each individual and also what is around us. So this evening, I know normally Fridays are lighthearted and all this sort of stuff. We know we were getting calls yesterday, 2 minutes before closing. The lines are open. Because, like I said, I've ventilated this amendment bill. I've cited things that remain untouched. That is, I know more than likely it'll be downplayed, but it's real. It's real. Okay? But that's okay. We brought it to light. But what we're hearing is that people feel there just hasn't been enough true consultation. Maybe they were not really realizing, and then everybody can pick up a piece of law and just read it like that without you going through it, and that's going to take time. We're just blessed that I've taken on this project, so to speak, to do it. And that you're blessed that we now have sites like this that you can actually, if you miss an episode, you can go back and you can scroll back. If I said something, you can go back, and we're just blessed to have it here like that. Okay? But tonight I want to hear from you. Your questions, your concerns, your feedback. That's all I want. Keep it measured. Let's keep it respectful. And let's keep it focused on clarity and context. Because I really need to find out if you feel you've had, honestly, enough opportunity to understand what this bill really means for you or to you. Do you feel that this legislation of a piece of bill and all of these amendments and inclusions, one of this magnitude at this particular time, would you say it should temporarily pause until the regulations then are published or explained and better to the people? How do we actually do immigration reform and balance the need of the reform with the need of transparency and public trust? And whether they will say this to your face or not, many still are doing it only on their back patios, in the shadows, here or there. They would never get publicly and say it. A lot of people are becoming, they're disappointed. They're getting a bit frustrated. and the trust is eroding. What would, to you, it would be interesting to know from you, what would genuine consultation look like if they said, look, we did this straight across the island. We may have gone to the sister islands. I don't know. Tell us how you would want us to do it. If that was asked publicly by the government, what would you say? How would you articulate that? How would you? Would it be more town halls again? Obviously, that didn't work. Or if it worked, how would you want it to be structured? Would you want to see the actual written drafts? Would you like to be seeing an interactive smart board or something like that? Or other community forums? I don't know. Because the more you keep deathly quiet is the more, I can tell you this much, it's going to continue. It's going to proceed. And you don't have one soul to blame. You don't have one soul to blame but yourself. 936-8255. You can WhatsApp, you can call direct. 936-8255. So, okay, there we go. Good. We got one. So one second. Good evening, caller. Welcome to, you called 2 minutes last night before I was ending.
Well, and I have to apologize for that because every call is valuable. You see, I put the call in and then I looked at the time. It was 2 minutes to go, and I wasn't sure. I wanted to put you under the pressure of sort of like having to explain that you have to go. So I said, no, it's all right. But it was so kind of you to acknowledge that I tried to call. Now, Sabrina, these matters that you're discussing are important. But first of all, let me just deal with the one that I meant to say yesterday because I was trying really to help somebody out.
The caller that is calling on with 5050 at the end, because this is a WhatsApp call, I will call you back. Okay? Just bear with me. With the last two numbers, 50, I'll call you back. Go ahead, Mr. Balika.
Yeah, I feel guilty sometimes because I always call on WhatsApp once you're in the
I can't merge,
you see.
You see. Yeah, correct. I can't merge.
Yeah, so yeah, it'll be nice if we could. But anyway, the thing I wanted to call about yesterday was the gentleman the person who called and said that they were denied a BOTC passport because for some reason. What was that about? Like I mean, if you get your 8 years permanent residency and you get the certificate at the end of 8 years, of course, when you reach the 9th year, then you can apply for your BOTC passport. So
yeah, I don't
why...
know. There was no context given for that one. 1650,
Yeah.
I'll call you right back. There was no context given for that. I don't know if legal and ordinary resident, you know how those, I can give in just broad form why it could have been refused. Maybe legal and ordinary resident status was a situation. I don't know.
Yeah, I just want to mention two things which have happened to people I know. There's one person who met all the legal and ordinary residents and sent in their documents, all in order, and they paid the amount involved. And the response they got from London was, "Oh, you are not entitled. You are not entitled because of this and that and so on." And they wondered, but what is that? So they sent in a further inquiry. And tried to explain, I'm from the Cayman Islands, this and that, please can you speak to a supervisor or somebody? And then they apparently spoke to the supervisor, and the supervisor responded and said, no, we are so sorry that we told you are not entitled. You are entitled, we'll process your application. Do you see? It just went to the wrong person, like the desk person who wasn't quite sure. So sometimes you do get people who are new in certain places and then they tell you no. Now, the other thing in that same area was somebody, again, I know, who traveled to London. and they traveled on their BOTC passport.
Mm-hmm.
And when they got the customs or the immigration person said, "Oh, what kind of passport is this?" And they're saying, no, I don't think this is right,
Mm-hmm.
So that person then went to speak again to a supervisor. A supervisor came back. He said, no. BOTC passport is all right. They don't need a visa or anything. But the point I'm just trying to make is that that person should make double sure that everything is all right.
Mm-hmm.
Because once in a while you do get a wrong answer from a wrong
Correct.
person. But the first thing is, of course, to make double sure that you've met all the legal requirements. So that's why I was trying to help that person. I hope they are listening today. Sometimes you just need to sort of like press your issue a little bit. Now about our good immigration issue. I am a little bit disappointed. Like it has kind of died down. You are the only one who is keeping it going together with some of the callers.
And that's why
that in
we're going to
itself,
possibly be looked at as troublemakers.
Well, that's the problem. But that's what they said about Nelson Mandela. Because after all, his traditional name, he actually meant troublemaker. I won't try to pronounce it for you because no Caymanians can pronounce it. Actually, his name Nelson Mandela was like, Nelson was an approximation of how his traditional name sounds. So that's how he became. But since people are curious, they were.
It is. They're going to, from what I'm hearing, I haven't heard of any changes, but the government is going to Parliament on Thursday, the 11th. And it is expected in this sitting that this will
not 10th?
Either 10th or the 11th.
Okay, but I thought
one of those days. Yeah, okay, I could be wrong as well. So, but whatever day it is of next week, they're going to to be debating this bill. That's what I've heard.
Yes, I really, let me echo what you've said, that I think people really want it to discuss it better. 15 amendments you are going to make, they could cause you a problem. Now, let me just say something with my background of writing legislation. If you take a bill of that size to Parliament, that complex, and you are going to effect 15 amendments there, the chances are that you are going to make mistakes. Okay? People should understand that committee stage was never meant to allow for the biggest form of amendments. When a bill goes to Parliament, it should be government should have concluded its consultation. It should, even when they publish it, like before the 28 days, they usually say that 28 days is for consultation. Actually, it's not really in reality for consultation, because how do you consult in 28 days? Okay, on anything?
Yeah.
It is known as a consultation period, but really it is a notification to the public that this law is coming to Parliament. If, for example, you are dealing in liquor licensing or trading and so on, for you to know that this bill is coming. It is not really meant that during that stage the public will engage the government and then the government will make changes. No, I know we call it consultation period, but in practical terms it is not. It is really just notifying the public that this thing is coming.
Would you?
So,
you have just layered another part of what people are saying. Oh my God, not again. So why call it public consultation? Because I understand what you've explained, but it's again appears though like a checkbox exercise, because like you rightfully say, we're not denying that some of the changes being proposed is not long overdue, but there are a lot more questions without being cited of the regulations and knowing beforehand what these 15 amendments are. There are more questions than answer. And then me highlighting that back door of those kids being born here legal and ordinarily resident for 10 years, entitled to BOTC. Hello. You see?
Yeah, no. As you say, it shouldn't be a checkbox exercise. This is major stuff. Look, I don't believe there's any immigration bill which they have passed since the mass grants and the one they did after the mass grants. This is the biggest since that time, which is like more than 20 years ago.
Correct.
And I don't think that you can rush it the way this is being rushed. This should be something which they should first consult and then even prepare a second draft, and then if they can consult a little bit further on the second. You don't usually do it twice, but this is what this is about. Now, the other things really, again, it goes back to the way legislation is done.
Mm-hmm.
In my view, the memorandum of objects and reasons, the one that is provided for this bill,
Mm-hmm.
does not explain to people what the bill is supposed to do. You see, the memorandum of objects and reasons is supposed to be a thing you go to, and it tells you what they have done technically. You should not have to read
The clauses.
technical amendments. Exactly. For you to understand what they are trying to do. For example, the big clause we've been discussing is clause 35, the transitional provisions.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the memorandum of objects and reasons, all they say is that clause 35 introduces section 83A, which has got some transitional provisions.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. How is that explaining anything?
To John Public,
okay? It's not explaining.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I might as well just go to the bill and read it and understand, or I do not understand it. And particularly in provisions such as the one we're talking about, you can't. I bet if there's 1 in every 10 Caymanians who understand that, that would be very high because of the way it is written, you see.
Mm-hmm.
So this goes to emphasize that, in my view, if anything, they must consult on this bill. And if they are able to really rewrite it, be able to take it out there again and let people have a look at it before they come with it. It is far too involved.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, which other people have mentioned, but I think it bears repeating, is that you need to say what you want to achieve. What are the numbers you want to achieve in terms of status grants and the PR? What are the numbers you want to achieve? And how are you going to achieve those numbers? Look, like, for example, if you want to introduce a tax, right? You want to introduce a tax. You have to say, okay, this is a new tax we want to introduce, and they will ask you, okay, how much do you expect to collect every year? And you say, okay, 10 million every year. Okay, fine. Can you tell us how much you need in terms of resources?
Right.
Then when they do the calculation, you find that in order for you to get the staff you need and the training to collect this tax, you need $12 million every year. What decision should you make? The decision is that there's no point in introducing the tax because it will cost more to collect it than what we actually collect.
Correct.
Now, that's a very simple example, but really every piece of legislation has to be subjected to the same sort of analysis. You have to say, okay, what do we want to achieve in this matter? We want to reduce status grants, give job preferences, ensure Caymanians are not a minority in the country. Okay, fine. Then you do the formal term for it is a regulatory impact assessment. In other words, how would this impact the society? And then if you find that you are causing more problems than solving, then it means you are not doing it the right way.
Correct.
Right now, for example, they are saying, okay, we want to reduce sham marriages. You give us a projection of how many sham marriages you will be able to identify and are now. Give us a projection. They have told us up to now that they were investigating something like 250 sham marriages. They need to give us some idea of, in the last 5 years, how many they have investigated, how many have successfully been denied their rights because they were sham marriages, and therefore be able to give us a projection that under the new system we might be able to achieve maybe 50 or 60 more per 100 or whatever. Right. Give us something, rather than just saying, well, we are going to look into the marriages and then we'll find out what's happening. In fact, I was listening to Steve McField on the other show, and he was saying that they had really clamped down on sham marriages, But somebody came in from the Attorney General's office and told them that, you see, they couldn't do that. There were some things they were doing which were unlawful. So they also need to tell us exactly, I mean, what kind of measures are going to be acceptable to pursue these sham marriage or not. Okay? All these things, Sabrina, as you've been saying, need to be done. I mean, Danny Warren, I don't usually like quoting people, but Danny has been public enough on this show and other shows. He has said, you know what? We shouldn't, of course, have an immigration. We can't prohibit people or stop giving grants. It won't work. But let us have some figures about the net population growth. Okay, how can we continue giving status at about 1,500 per year if the net population growth is somewhere around 800 local, and then maybe actual Caymanians is somewhere around 400? I mean, you are giving away the country in a very spectacular fashion, and to me, they haven't done that. And you see, it's to me, they have to say not just what they have decided to do, but also explain why they have not done certain things which people have called for.
Exactly. That
Like
is true public consultation, and not because what is being described is like it's more of a sales pitch. But what has been the dialogue and the type of dialogue that we've been having here, understanding this is 2 hours. If you do this style, let's say in a town hall, I think their approach may need to change if you really want public feedback. And first of all, another thing, people are more inclined possibly to speak in forums like this, but if they're not showing up either, then it says they're consenting. I did a screenshot of that section oh God, what a horrible screenshot. Anyhow, that section, oh Lord, what clause was it again? 35?
35, yeah.
Yeah, you see, it amends the Principal Act by inserting after Section 83, proposed new Section 83A. The proposed new Section 83A provides for various transitional matters, such as consequences of amendments and proposed under the legislation. Bam, that's it. Tell us what that is in English.
You see, in other words, you know what we are saying, we have said it there, so you go and check it there. But then you are not, in what sense? Okay, that memorandum of objects and reasons, which in some places it's called an explanatory note, is supposed to more or less tell you the additional story to those provisions, and it's not doing that. Now, let me mention a thing which I probably have not mentioned before. You remember there was a resolution passed by the last parliament, a resolution which was brought by the Honorable Bernie Bush, where everybody agreed that, well, we don't want to give more. I think the figure was like
there's
30
a quota
or 40
per
grants.
year.
Yeah, per year, to say we can give for people who by descent, of course. Those we don't even have to bother about because they are entitled. Caymanian is of right. But then he said there are the only other ones that we should give should be by marriage. But beyond those two categories, they shouldn't give more than 30 per year. And that was agreed by Parliament and passed as a resolution. What are they doing about that? We are not hearing about that. If they have made up their mind that they don't want to implement that, then they should tell the public that, yes, we passed this in the last parliament, but we felt that it won't work because of ABC. You can't just ignore it. It is in the public record that this is what you promised you were going to do to the people. And there's something like about 5 people who were in this government, they were in the last one as well. So they have to explain all those things to the people, Sabrina. But
they may not even remember. I could tell you, if it's not in your ministry, you're not necessarily going to remember unless it is something being spoken about in the public's domain. But isn't that where the operational arm should somewhat nudge the minister? I mean, at what point?
Yeah, because that's why they say that government has got perpetual succession, because you've got civil servants who are always there. You should be able to say, "Oh, Minister, this might cause you a problem because you haven't said anything about this. You made this undertaking in the last parliament, and they should do that." But
the thing about we're creatures of instructions. That is used being
Yeah.
that is usually used. Break that down in layman's terms, please.
Creatures of instruction?
Yes, like when like
Well,
if the legal drafters tell you that as a minister, tell us
yeah,
what you want.
yeah.
Maybe they may understand that based on how they're articulating, how they're speaking about, let's say this same clause that I had put here on the screen, and you're asking a question because something doesn't feel right. Well, tell us what you want. Tell us what you want. Remember, now we're gonna do it, but we have to be
Yeah,
instructed by cabinet. We're creatures of
by cabinet.
instructions.
Exactly.
So tell us
Exactly.
what that
Because
means when you know we could be going down a wrong road.
yeah, you see, the people who write legislation, they don't create policy. Uh, they receive the policy instructions. Sometimes the policy instructions can be very broad, very
Uh-huh.
vague, complex. But the people who are writing the legislation have to now take that and discuss it with the other side. You as a drafter, you you engage government in the way in which legislation is being formulated. For example, you will say, okay, Minister, you have said that you want to increase the penalties for such and such an offense to 10 years. Okay, it's for you to decide what number of years. But do you know there's a similar offense under another law where a similar offense carries only 2 years? Do you think that it will be consistent within the law to do that? And the minister might not be aware. And so the minister will say, okay, fine, let's make a compromise, make 5 years, or maybe amend the other one as well. In other words, as a drafter, you are stress testing the instructions, just like your bill, once it is drafted, it will be stress tested. You, as a drafter, you can share policy. There are some pieces of legislation I have written, to tell you the very truth, where a lot of the ideas were mine. But the reason they were mine was because I was given broad instructions. And then I tried, once I had appreciated what government was trying to achieve as an end, then I now worked with them from my experience of the law, the legislative process, and how other legislation has been drafted, how other legislation is fared when they've gone to parliament. And after I consult with them, then they make the final decision to say, okay, we accept what you are giving us here. We don't accept this as a matter of policy. And then I go ahead and write it. So
the policy advisors then are the ones who do the research, make the recommendations, send it on to legal stress test it. But many of persons sitting in those elected seats would automatically think that the legal drafters, the legal team, are trying to undo it. They're not realizing it is a stress test exercise. And then it becomes this tug of war between the minister, the legal drafters, and then it gets heated. Thank you for breaking that down. Somebody needed to hear that.
Yes, because you see, that's why the policy advisors, we always try to ensure that they are trained on how to work with the legislative council. They have to be trained. In fact, our government did a very good thing a few years ago. There's a gentleman called Robert Lewis.
Yes, he's retired. He's retired now.
He's retired now.
He's retired.
Well, last time. He's retired. Yeah, he's a specialist in policy, and he conducted these courses in government for quite a while, to try and help policy people how to work generally in the policy area, but also how to work with drafters. Now, I have worked with policy people a long time, but I'm not a policy person per se. Like, I don't have training in that. So what happened was we got the notice in our portfolio in legal, I said, look, can I go and sit down in this workshop for 3 hours and see how policy people really think? And me and another Caymanian colleague of mine, we went over there. And he sat there, and it was very, very interesting to find out exactly how policy people think. Actually, policy people think, they usually start, when they start thinking of an idea, they think about what the Constitution says about that particular point, which is what as lawyers we do as well.
Right.
Okay. And then what do the ordinary laws say? And then they get into, okay, what do we want to achieve? How do we achieve it? And then he also said that policy people need certain related training so that they can work well. They need, for example, to learn something about strategic planning. and that they also need to learn about the legislative process. This is the thing that I've been trying to teach,
Correct.
to learn the legislative process. Exactly. So, and then he listed a few other things, because, okay. When, like in England, you're doing a piece of legislation, Sabrina, they put together a bill team, and they insist that as soon as they put together the team, everybody there who has not been trained on how to work on legislation is put through a crash program by Parliamentary Council Office. They choose a person who will deal with the press. They choose the people who will deal with the legal research and the policy research.
Mm-hmm.
They have a strategic planner who will prognosticate, like, these are the milestones we will meet.
Right.
By such a date, we should put the instructions to legal. By such a date, legal will come back to us and tell us what else they need. Once they need those further instructions, in the certain number of days, again, we'll go back there. They actually put in all the milestones up to the time it goes to the Legislative Council and to the time it comes into force. All those things must be done. I don't know if they did those with these. In Cayman, we do it much more simply, and maybe we don't have to do everything. But the reason I say that is that there has to be an understanding that in legislation, such as the immigration legislation, you can't do it this way. It has to be done very, very, very closely. But let me let you go there.
Yes, I'm going to
keep
call the other
listening
caller.
in.
Thank you. Appreciate it as always.
Yes, please.
All right. Take care.
Thank
Have a
you
good
very much.
weekend.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
You too.
There we go. So if you didn't understand the power of, or the role of being a policy advisor, I hope that shares it. And for some of my colleagues who are in that position, the legal drafters are not getting at you. They're stress testing what you're asking. That very profound. That is some serious information that was shared there. Thank you for that, Mr. Balika. Good evening, caller. You are live on Sabrina Speaks. How's life over there?
Life over here is a struggle and boring and backward. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we got for 30-something years of representation.
There we go.
Anyways,
what's on your mind?
What's on my mind? To a certain degree, I agree that more public consultation should be had on the changes to the Transition Act. But you know what? It is what it is. And when they did the mass status grants, I know you would know, not one person, not one consultation on that was ever brought to the public.
Which is why it was shut down.
Thank you. Listen, they never asked us how we felt about it. They just went ahead and approved it. And first of all, they came out. This was a big whopping lie that they used. They came out with this big old blanket that, our police and our nurses and doctors and caregivers and domestics and coaches have been here all these years. And like others, that wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so they never really gave us any opportunity to say, sure, no problem. We don't have an objection to this. But it has to come with regulations. And this is the problem in the situation we are at today, where we have opened the doors so wide that not even micro businesses can flourish in this country.
Mm-hmm.
The only ones that are flourishing in this country because of that blanketing of granting citizenship with full across the board is the mere fact that those that are up in the higher grade of employment with bigger incomes are actually starting micro businesses, and they have a hell of a lot more disposable income than the little ones down here. And these are people, that we gave status to in the mass grants and some of their children. I'm not saying we're not a country of enterprising and welcoming people. I mean, if we wasn't a welcoming country, plenty of them would be tombstones today. They can't deny that. We're a great country to come to. And we shut up and we take what they threw down our avenue and down our throats and shoved it down our face. And you have the mean character behind it. They can how stating to that they can how accept it as if that is unfair to the people of this country. And yes, some people are there bitching and complaining that some of us are raising the dead from 20 something years ago. Yeah, we don't raise it.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? We were ignored from 2003 when this came out. We started but complaining, talk show after talk show, letters to the paper, you name it, because I follow this country from our ponytails. A plethora. Go back on CNS. You can't see Cayman News anymore, but there was a ton of it there as well. I don't know why his children don't keep that server going or sell it to the National Archives or something so that they can have a record of another version of media, what they had to say about the country.
Caller, you mentioned you went back into the mass status grants. The government of that time, that was totally legal what they did. I just think, what I'm saying is, you said public consultation. I just think it became a runaway train when the first 6 or the first 3. Remember that particular section of the law back then was saved and only given to governors who were leaving, commissioners of police, for really those top positions. And then when they realized, I guess, not speaking on their behalf, but I was a civil servant then, it started off with 3, then 10. Exactly. Then there was a list of 20. Then there was a list of 100. And then, and that's not what I'm hearing. This is what I was a part of.
So, and I was knee deep in it, neck deep in it myself, complaining.
Meaning, for context,
never published most of mine.
For clarity, when I said I was in it at the time, I was the assistant secretary of the Caymanian Status and Permanent Residency Board.
I knew you were there.
I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying for the public's domain. That's the clarity for context.
So this is the domino effect, and this is where we're at, and we're being told. I'm being told I'm bitter and I'm a racist. Imagine a policeman was kicked out of the police force for corruption from Jamaica that called me racist. Anyway, leave him to his vices. My point is, we never had anyone listen to us about it until now. We kept hearing it on platforms. I can tell you, the platforms raised it over the years since 2003, but they still never acted on it. I mean, that's where the problem was, and that's where the ball dropped, and that's where the people's voice out here, majority of the people's voice out here, was trampled by ignoring it when they got elected.
Well, we will know whether or not the people's voice have value if this call is saying, slow it down just a little bit. Slow it down and come back again. We will know whether or not the people's voice for this exercise has value. Because more and more, caller, I'm hearing people to say, yes, we need it, but slow it down. Come back again. Not now.
I think a 6-month full consultation on it. Look at everything people have said, and more of our people have their voices heard. And that's the other issue. Plenty of our people overseas can't have their voices heard, and they want their voices heard too. And that's why I think it should get an extension to probably even April of 2026. Then take it to the House during the next session after that. That's what we're saying. And I would be comfortable with that, because at the end of the day, even the new Caymanians from the mass status grants will have an opportunity to say how they feel about it as well. But at the end of the day, we can't just keep giving away our birthright like left, right, and center. And people we're giving it to aren't being properly vetted, because clearly our government ain't vetting a lot of them, and their applications come to the board. You know why? There's no vetting section of the Immigration or Permanent Residency Board that actually takes your application and checks the information you have supplied. You can sign anything saying, all of this is truthful. That don't mean you're being completely truthful. We don't have a full section that vets this. It's like temporary permits, as you know, from being in the same business as I was with doing it as well. You can walk into any WRC office and file a temporary permit with a lease record from a foreign country and pay the express fee and get that permit approved in 48 business business days hours. So within the Monday to Friday type of thing. So we're not vetting people. So we're opening our doors wide open and letting anybody in. If we don't do proper background checks, we are actually putting this country in the most precarious position, and it has already started. Jamaica celebrates a no murder day. What kind of day are we going to celebrate? They have no murder with an 8th of June 2025. When are we going to reach that point if we continue at this train ride level we're on? We have to do the differentiation, and we need to do it now.
Well, I understand.
We're in that law digging it up.
I understand that there's somebody now hired in the civil service that they're going to be doing a lot of background checks and due diligence now. But from a national standpoint, what I'm hearing from the statement that you've made is that we need a robust background checks, due diligence being done nationally as well. Looking at that department now within government, nationally, I'm hearing that call as well for better border security, be able to really see for sure who we are letting into our shores, be it to work for government, the statutory authorities, or on just regular work permit. Caller, they could be working in our homes. We don't know.
Exactly. We don't know. And I have received so many applications over the years. And if I properly vet them, I would have put a permit in for a criminal, a member of a gang, a murderous gang back in the Philippines or somewhere else. I'm just saying, if I didn't do my full background on them. And that's the thing. A lot of people have this presumption that you can come to the Cayman Islands, nobody's going to check you out and see any of your history. They'll bypass that. We can get that bypassed, and it all has to do with kickback money. And we need to also put major enforcements in for that as well, because people are taking kickback money to turn a blind eye to stuff that is needed in our government that they're going about approving. They're turning a blind eye to stuff, and you can't tell me it's not happening, because people that work in these same departments are exposing it and saying it's occurring, and nobody is dealing with it. And this is where people out here in the community is watching from the sidelines.
But that's not enough anymore. That's not enough anymore. They can't just watch.
Exactly.
They can't just watch. I have been advocating here. I have been advocating that our enforcement arm be properly funded, be properly trained, know what they're looking for, investigative techniques, in case file management, so that they link their charges to the right section of the law. So when they send it to legal to levy a charge, that it sticks with the law and we don't have any more lost cases. That is all done from the enforcement level. That is,
but we don't have enforcement.
There we go.
Sabrina, you remember when the immigration department did have an enforcement
center? I was a part of that group.
Exactly. No, we don't have that. I remember
they have it. They have it.
Flowers block picking up people.
No, they have it, but it's, I don't know. I don't know if they're under-resourced. Remember, we have grown in population. We have grown in breaches. I don't know if they're just understaffed or undertrained. I don't know if that is the case, why we're not.
Like
so maybe it may be a combination of things, but I have been advocated for funding of our gatekeepers. That's enforcement on the WORC side, on the CBC side, the DLP side, the Department of Labor, because they have rights that are equivalent, same as constables.
Exactly. And they don't utilize them.
Because they probably do not understand to the extent. They probably do not understand. And I'm not undermining them.
Not been trained.
Correct.
It's all been watered down and they've not been trained. And this is the false pretense out here in the public, the voters that go and vote in this country. And they're the ones that their voices matter the most about. If you don't go register and you don't vote, well, your voice counts, but you're basically saying you don't care. That's what I tell people. Go and get registered to vote, because your opinion matters when you are a registered voter. And always check that list to make sure you're on it before the deadlines.
Well, I've got to tell you this. A lot of the registered voters are getting fatigued. I have had engagements with them, and you can see disappointment in them where, and you can hear it in their voice when they realize the discussions that are coming up on these forums. And when we're having the real conversations and they're realizing what it means in layman's terms, you see disappointment.
Yep.
You hear it in their voice, like, oh my God, I feel like I've been let down again. And that's what we don't want, because then anything can fill the gap.
There you go. And that is what has cost us so much already. The filling of the gap.
Mm-hmm.
The filling of the gap could have been better managed if it had proper management overseeing it. And that is the systems that are in place that in our government that nobody checks on, nobody inquires on. I am telling you, I got an email the other day from the DCI with a trade and business license that has absolutely nothing to do with me. Okay? They didn't even look at the other ones that were really mine. They sent me to ensure that the name that was correct. But they're gonna send me someone that's similar to mine, that it has an address in Grand, and my permanent address is Cayman Brack. That tells me we have people working the system, because I was bitching Sabrina and complaining about my trade and business licenses over a year. I paid from them, now expired again. I haven't received the renewal for that one. And finally, somebody sends this woman to call me up and tell me, oh, there was a glitch in the system, and that's why your real estate license didn't get sent to you. So I see there's an issue there, because she clearly didn't check her work before she sent it out by sending me somebody else's trade and business license. Couldn't that have happened to my licenses that they claim they emailed me? They could have incorrectly sent them to some other person and not even checked to see that this, when it exited the system, it went to the corresponding email address that's on the application form. I see on the application form I make changes to certain things, and when you get your license, the old stuff is still there, but you've corrected it on that should have been corrected from your original license that they put in mistakes. They didn't fix the mistake. They just issue your license, and then you got paid him $50 to change it? No.
Well, I think that the error is on their part. You shouldn't have to be.
That's the other issue. Nobody is checking the issues that people bring back to them. For a year, Sabrina, I would email and call in the DCI office about my licenses I paid them for, got receipts for, and they didn't issue them. I got them 2 weeks ago, was it? 2 weeks ago, I got them after bitching on my show and on CMR about it. I finally, somebody listened, but they still won't penalize me for my licenses now expiring. If I go renew them, I got to pay the penalties and all kind of stuff. You hear the rubbish?
You would have to prove that you didn't receive them.
Exactly, and I did not. But clearly they make errors there, and they don't want to correct their errors, because I have found in our civil service, not everybody is like this, but the ones that are like this is what they get, the treatment you get. When it becomes a challenge or look like it's a problem and they got to figure it out and solve it for you, they ignore you. I have 26 emails I sent to a government department in the space of 1 week about a problem. All now. That was 2008. They have not corrected it and have not responded to me. And that's their email address, the one I've always used and the one on their website. So the problem is we need an overhaul, upheaval of administrative government. From the Gardner man, put the flag up. From him, right through. We have issues that are underlying there for years that is not corrected. You have a civil servant who worked in a department of that government, Sabrina, you hear this?
I hear you.
15 employees were there with the department when they started. It's now got one, because every time somebody left, they never replaced them. They just gave her to work, one person to work. She the last one there and still making the salary of one person.
Oh my God.
Make it make sense. Please make it make sense. And I not come in and talking shit on your show. I
No,
come
no.
in talking facts.
People are saying
I
you're talking the
talking
truth. I'm putting the postings up. People are commenting to telling you to keep talking.
Telling you to keep talking. The way Sam must keep talking.
Yeah, that's what the people are saying. Keep talking.
We're sitting ducks right now in our country with all the crime happening around us. Some of it is homegrown, yeah, but not a lot of it is. A lot of the crime that is being reported in this country, the other issue why we should be very unsafe, feel unsafe in this country is it's not being reported to the media, not even CMR getting it. That's how much they're covering up. And you can't tell me it is so because I can afford to tell you. They're not mentioning anything. They're not bringing it out. They're not telling you. We want to know nationalities of people that are arrested as well. And if they got status, we want to know what their original nationality was before we granted them status. I really don't care who feels offended with that statement. This is indeed our home country. We can't pick up and run to your country and dictate to your government how to run that country, your home country, that you can go back to as a voter in that country and complain and bitch over there as well. You don't come in ours and complain to us and tell us, say, because of 20 something years ago, you're still bitching about the mass status grants. We're going to bitch on it, about it until Christ come, until you all get regulated that got it. Because the bunch of you who got in the mass status grants, not all of you, but a good 90% in that area of you have taken and abused that status against this country and our native Caymanians. You oppress us, you regress us, you distress us, you hate us, you want to assimilate, and you walk around this country committing all kind of offenses against our people and even some of your own, and you want to tell me I don't have the power to, once you're charged and taken to court within a week, people like you need to be in front of an emergency judge in a week and stripped of your status. Once you commit a crime in this country, we don't care what level of it is. We have to clean the bullshit out of this country. And we need to heavily regulate those that got status in the mass status grants. Regulation has to be heavy on them. I'm sorry. If you don't like it, you can always leave. There's absolutely nobody here saying to stay or nobody here telling you it's, we're sorry. No, we're not sorry. Y'all was not sorry to us. You sit out there and you oppress us in our own country. How can you live with that? You came to our country to make a better life, and you walk ashore and you oppress our people in this country because you took our kindness for weakness? I don't think so. I'm very sorry. If that's the mindset you have, please do this country a favor. In fact, do the rest of the world a favor. Walk to that departure lounge or call a taxi or whatever. Leave what you have here for someone else. Get on a flight and get out of my country because you do not mean me well or any of us in our country. And I see it repeatedly in Grand and here, and we need to do some serious regulation right now, today. I don't care. Work through the Christmas. We'll pay no overtime, Parliament. Anyway, Sabrina, sorry, but
no apologies needed.
And God bless you, and we love you.
Love you too, Carrie. At the end of the day, this is your space. This is open mic. You have to have this. This is what people are asking. You people are saying, commenting here, Carrie, that you're a brave woman, that you're not telling the truth, and that we need to keep holding government accountable. Because the moment we stop, then what?
I'm not telling the truth?
No, that you are telling the truth, that you are telling the truth, that you are telling the truth, and that you must continue to do it, and that you are a brave woman for speaking the truth. And, they applaud you for it. And we got, that they say to keep talking. So they obviously.
I think of my people suffering. We should all be millionaires in this country, Sabrina. We should all be millionaires in this very rich tax avoidance jurisdiction that only benefits a certain sector of this country, and that gonna stop from today. We want that piece of the pie too, and we're gonna come for it. And those in Parliament better sit at the table with us and talk about that pie too, because that gonna get shared up. We're not sitting in our country anymore and allowing a tax avoidance jurisdiction this wealthy to allow people to come in and become wealthier off of our sweat, blood, and tears. And our people must be getting handouts and begging from charities and you name it. Not a ras. It ain't happening no more. Them charities can start closing down because we are all going to become millionaires in our country from this tax avoidance jurisdiction. Nobody else can come. I put it, anybody come into our country and say that they're going to do better than us, it ain't going to happen. Y'all have a good evening.
Take care. All the best. Thank you for your contribution. Tartarian had a question here. A good question, Tartarian. Did anyone reject the status? I am thinking, Tartarian, you're talking about the mass grants. Not to the best of my knowledge. No. Why would they, to be honest? That was like a golden ticket, like America's Got Talent golden ticket. I'm going to go back to some comments and read them. Real Michelle says, thank you, Carrie. Hugs. And the Brack, I know where some hide. Damian Henry says accountability and over avoidance. Real Michelle also says there's no reason each Caymanian couldn't have $1 million. Keith, how are you? All those people who got Cayman status by deceitfulness and disrespecting Caymans, that is going to be your downfall in life. At the end of the day, I think the slap in the face and people did not realize what happened. Or how open that was until it spread like wildfire. It was almost like Caymanian status lost its luster when it was just somewhat given away freely, is what I'm hearing from the discussions. And now those persons are stigmatized because many will look at them who got that status under that particular grant as though it wasn't anything earned. It was as though, oh, you were part of the free for all. It's like, and I think that's where the discontent and the rage is coming from the wider public, and especially those Caymanians, because at the end of the day, how that section was used in the law, as I said earlier, was for former governors, persons, and police commissioners, that sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden it was open season. And once you got on the right list and you were approved by that sitting government and council or governor, cabinet, exco those days, I think it was, you were approved. You were Caymanian. Real Michelle says, if each Caymanian accepts 50,000 annual installments over 20 years, like some buttery banks. That's a message. Let me go up here to wake up. There we go. Let me just do this one. I see ya. Okay. Wake up, the Cayman Islands. It says, 1, I may not be in Cayman right now, but I made sure to follow every consultation online and submitted my feedback. People need to stop being too busy, quote unquote, and actually get involved. Quite right. No more excuses. If you want to see change, you got to get involved. Number 2, government can't just sit and wait until everyone decides to get around to it. Point taken. If not now, then when? Also, number 3, despite working and studying full time, I still took the time to read through the bill carefully and even submitted, a 5-page response among the 2,000 submissions. Let me tell you, I applaud you for that. And what else are we saying now? I want to make sure, and that's what I get for coming out. There we go. Number 4. Honestly, I don't think the bill is as complicated as some assume. In this particular case, this person says that they used AI tools to break it down into plain language, which gave them an even clearer understanding. Number 5, we just need more of us to step up and make our voices heard. However, I agree that we need another round of public consultation. If Caymanians don't like it, then protest. If Caymanians don't like, I think the word "it" was missing, protest. Real Michelle says, once people wake up, it's time to step up. Doing nothing in the face of evil is choosing evil. Lisa commented and said, good evening, Sabrina. We the people need to march. We need to demand a better government. People that are truly favor people, not the power paycheck. Thank you for your comment. The Real Michelle says, do we know what enforcement or process looks like? As Miss Sabrina says, all the laws in the world won't protect a thing without enforcement and policing. Is Cayman Islands like ICE desirable? The closest thing that we have to anything like ICE is when you have joint government agencies where you have the CBC enforcement arm, the WORC enforcement arm, and sometimes maybe RCIPS, Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, or even some of the people from the DLP based on the nature of the operation. But they can combine and they can just do a hybrid and go on certain missions if they need extra manpower. And I feel, I will not stop advocating for this. I really feel that both WORC, DLP, and all three, DLP and CBC needs to really bolster up their enforcement arm in order for this to work. So you can hear that we are not throwing this suggestion under the bus, but with all the commentary that we're seeing here, with all the feedback that we've received, people are saying, for God's sake, slow it down, give it some more time, rewind, hold a little bit, and come back to us. Real Michelle, some people are currently being gangst talked. Carrie is not crazy. If I'd not looked into it myself, I'd never have believed it happens to people my family knows. And these, I read those already. Carrie, speak the truth. Look real close. Aliano, how are you, my dear? My lady is not a bug. It's a feature. You're not alone, Carrie. Time will soon tell. I read that one. I just want to make sure. The Real Michelle, okay, 20 years. There we go. Okay, so that was a clarification. People, your voice really matters, and coming together will actually make this become something that at the end of the day, they have to listen. Have to listen, meaning you can't be valued only during a campaign season. And after you're elected, for situations like this, after they're elected, it's as though your voice has no value. And what I'm getting from you is that you're screaming, you're asking for the reins to be pulled in just a little bit. You're not saying to squash it, which is why it wasn't a protest against this bill. It was just asking for more clarity. It was asking for more context, because at the end of the day, what we are, and it's repeated that are hearing, is saying that really they need more true consultation, real consultation, whether it's your approach or their approach to change, how they actually outreach to the people. And I've heard it here on this platform, in others, not necessarily in the same words, but many are saying it was coming across like it was a sales pitch, like a sales pitch presentation. And you heard what Mr. Balika said, that at the end of the day, it's just saying, hey, this is a white paper, this is a bill out for public consultation. if you want, here's an email, send in, but it's almost like whether or not you comment on it, we're going to go forward with it anyway. If you don't actually participate, make your voices have value, come together and unite and stand for something, singing in one chorus. If you're feeling that strongly about the pace in which this is being brought, then you have to speak up. You have to make your voices heard. You have to do your written submissions like that individual did. They took the time, they made the time, and I agree with them. At what point do the government say, we can't wait for everyone? You know, at the end of the day, you have to invest time as well. Yeah, you have to invest time. Tartarian, Carrie is right. For a population of only 30,000 grassroots Caymanians, every grassroots Caymanian should own a home outright. What is 30,000 people? Come on, Cayman government. Come on, Cayman government, do better. There we go. There we go. Carrie says, I feel we have a good government with the NCFC. The problem is administrative Cayman Islands government. That is the problem. Denny, how many errors did AI make when analyzing the immigration bill is a question that was being asked to the person who said that they use the AI tool in order to consolidate and give an explanation. Carrie says, I agree. Some more clarity for some. They want the change, just making sure it fits and sits well. I thank you for saying that, Carrie, because I don't want anyone to take this forum and based on all of the discussions that were had, is that we're shooting it down or that we're totally against it. No, that can never be the takeaway from how these discussions and how the presentations have been made. No. If anyone goes away with that message that we're anti this reform, anti anything, you have missed the forest for the trees. People are just saying they're not at all comfortable with how the consultations were had. They're now needing definitely and asking to see what are the regulations before the law, even if it passes, goes into effect, that they want to know. And what are these 15 amendments that you're going to deal with at committee stage? You heard the earlier caller, Mr. Balika, says that that's when really you see errors being made. And if they're what may seem simple to you as on the inside who are about to make the presentation, for the public who is left in the dark, it is not simple, and it could possibly cause you. Let me stop right there. My advice is listen to the people. You listen to your people. And I can say it one more time. They are shouting. Listen to your people. Because for every action, there is a reaction. I can leave it right there. The real Michelle says, salespeople make up governments. They sell themselves first. Carrie, big question. Does that email still get checked or is it monitored? I don't know how they handle the feedback, the anyone who sends in feedback on these consultation. I don't know if they receive an automatic, we've received it, we're considering it. You don't know, you won't know whether or not your feedback or if there were recommendations in your feedback will actually make it, the public will not know what came in unless they hear from the administrative arm, Carrie, as you're alluding to, or the minister himself. And one thing would be good for transparency, because they love using that word, is that it would be good to know, without divulging any of the contributors or the submissions, how much or what specifically was received by public feedback that could have evoked change. It would be good to have those separated. This is what we got through the public consultation, not in a glossy way, but in raw, so that people would really get a full vision and a view of exactly how people were thinking in providing their feedback. And to those persons who took the time out, be it to attend the meetings or in this case, sent an email, it would be good. I don't know. I stand to be corrected. Whether or not there's any communication from the ministry, from the department that is handling all of the feedback, it would be good to let them know that you value their input. I don't know how it works. It would be for that commenter to say what that process was like, whether or not they have received any sort of feedback, whether or not dialogue continued, or anything like that. We wouldn't know whether or not that was the case unless that commenter who took the time out, despite studying and working, and still put in submissions, it would be good to know what that response was like. S. Moodskas, yes, it needs one final round of public consultation. If you feel that's what we need, comment it here. I can assure you they are seeing the comments. They know, which is why it's important for me to make sure that they're listed here and I read them. The real Michelle says, AI told me my own mother was married to Patrick. Who the hell was Patrick? Laugh out loud. Don't trust AI. My mother married 3 times, but never to a Patrick. Beware of AI. Very interesting. Very interesting. Funny. Carrie, and some people will need that. Older persons tell me they want to make sure they cannot change the changes again back against us. Oh, very interesting. Oh, really? You see, those seniors, they wouldn't know how to send in their comments by email and all that sort of stuff, Carrie. So it's, again, what I'm getting, the takeaway here, slow it down, one more round of consultation. Good evening, caller. You're live on Sabrina Speaks.
Good evening. How are you?
Fair to fine. Can't wait to embark on the weekend.
I just have a question, and maybe as a former MP, you may be able to shed a bit of light on this. So, as I've done my rounds, and you know how I feel about immigration, I'm a contributor, and I understand how the process works. I do believe that those are anonymous. So in terms of when you make the submission, it isn't, but it's like you don't get identified. Like if there's an FOI, and I don't even know if they fall under that category if it is an FOI-able request, but it should be. But my question is, as I've taken my round, the general consensus that I've come across with a lot of people and their sentiment is, does it even make sense? Are they going to take anything that any of our suggestions into consideration? Because there's been a lot of talk, a lot of banter, a lot of chatter. I can't think of one MP during the campaign season that did not campaign on immigration reform. We heard changes to the work permit. We heard changes to the Cayman status. We heard changes about
child marriages.
Child marriages. We heard about a lot of those changes, right? And I mean, for me, there were some very glaring changes that needed to be made that were, whether you want to say they were missed because, I don't know, give them the benefit of the doubt that it was genuinely an oversight, or there had not been a large push to have that. And I'll specifically speak to this, and I will not stop speaking about it, which is we need to address the way in which adult dependents are coming into this country. If you make a declaration that says, I can take care of this person, they shouldn't be allowed to work.
So that could be an adult spouse?
Correct. Your adult, your husband, your wife, your civil partner, whatever the case is. Because to me, that is an outright lie. You have said, because it's easier to bypass the immigration process in that way, you have made a declaration and you've said, I earn enough money to take care of my husband, my wife, my civil husband. I don't even know what
civil partnership.
So forgive me, my civil partner, right? I earn enough to take care of that based on what the immigration standards are or the requirements are for that salary requirement, right? And by the time they touch down, they in a recruitment agency. That was not in the bill. There was no changes or amendments to that portion of it. I thought
there is a change. No, not to that, but I glossed over. No, not to that, but I did gloss over one of the changes where it came on financial stability. that is actually going to look.
It only increased it. It only increased the amount that you needed to pay. But that doesn't curb the problem where we're having an issue with employment in this country.
No, I agree. But they've gone a little bit further. That's an additional thing that they need to look at.
But they didn't cover that. To me, was very obvious.
But what I'm saying is we got a bigger problem in our hands, because it's gone down to, what if the dependent is terminally ill? What if the dependent is challenged? What that could be the difference between getting a government contract, getting a work permit, because then you got to is our medical infrastructure here in place.
That is impacted. I think you and I spoke about this at length the last time I called in, and I will not stop harping on this case. It was very personal to me. I was personally impacted by a similar situation. It grieves me to my soul to know that it happened. And no, I am not here suggesting that we couldn't have helped, or we shouldn't have helped.
No.
That's not for
understood.
That's not for me to say. I have my personal opinion on that. However, I do have a child that was impacted. I do have a child that was also impacted, that was not treated in the same way, who is a Caymanian child. So yes, I do have an axe to grind with that. I'll leave that right there, because this is about immigration, right? But what I'm saying is, all of these things are part and parcel. All of these things come into play, and we've not considered them. But back to exactly what I spoke about, and what my sentiments in speaking to people have outright said, I'm not doing anything, Siobhan. You're wasting your time.
Oh, wow.
This government does not want any changes. Oh. They're just getting up there and fulfilling manifesto promises. Now, this government is brand new, and I do think that the country owes it to itself to give them an opportunity to allow them to either make good or make bad. Right?
But you can't make bad on this that could implicate us or impact us for the rest of our lives.
I agree. No, absolutely. I agree. But when I say make good or make bad, they've done, like I said, people are looking on and saying, they're just fulfilling their manifesto promises. We could end up with zero changes to the bill. Just understand that. Right? And a lot of people haven't considered the fact that could be the outcome of this bill. And they can throw their hands up in the air and say, well, we tried. You understand?
Yeah.
Is that good enough? Is that good enough? Because I don't think that there's anybody who would not be impacted, and I'm speaking specifically to Caymanians, anyone who would truly not be impacted by this legislation, who would say reform is not needed.
Correct.
I don't think so. Correct. Right? I stand corrected, but I don't believe that is the case. But again, what I'm saying is, when Siobhan submits a suggestion, Sabrina submits a suggestion, maybe my suggestion is BS. Maybe they might look and think, what a fool. You understand what I'm saying? But how does the public get to
Or
gauge?
It's coming from Siobhan. That's coming from a different,
Exactly. Right? But what I'm saying is, how does the public get to gauge? How does the public get to know what was submitted? Was it a sensible submission? I mean, who gets to determine all of these things?
That would be in-house.
They may say, but where is the transparency? This government, from the day they were sworn in, was all about transparency and taking the people along with them. And all I'm saying is, well, you could tell me that nobody made a submission. I would know that that's a blatant lie. But what about other people? I have no proof to show, other than, I guess, an email, that I made a submission. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Did you get an acknowledgement email from them?
No.
Oh, wow.
No.
So you don't even know if it was read or taken into consideration?
I put a read receipt on it, but I mean, I'm not, hear me when I say, I'm not expecting mine to be taken into consideration.
No, but what I'm saying is, how do you know it's just not La La Land, which is what somebody was saying? Are these?
But this is it.
Oh,
this is the problem. You don't know, and this is why I highlighted where people said, you go ahead, waste your time submitting anything to them like they want to make a change. The consensus is that they are fulfilling manifesto promises, and there is no real, to make changes within the sector, because, well, this one is in the pocket of that one, and if you change that, this is going to happen. There's so much banter out there. The government has, you can't respond to everything, and I get that, and I appreciate that, but be a bit more transparent. be a bit more, listen, you know, hey, we got, 40 responses. Here are some examples of a compilation of, you know, what was the suggestions that were submitted. Here were the ones that we took into consideration that we thought would make this bill a whole lot more appealing, that could propel us and put us forward in the direction that we believe that immigration reform needs to be. There's nothing. They could get up tomorrow and say, well, nobody never responded. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Unless you guys come out on a forum and says, look, I heard what you presented. I heard what you tabled here under the committee stage amendments. These are the 15 amendments, but yet I don't see what I said was even considered. Unless you do that, which more than likely will be in hindsight, saved by an outright march in the front of Parliament, we would never know.
What's that going to get you? What's that going to get you?
I tell you what, if they value, if they value their seat and you come out in the masses, trust me, there's power in it.
We have 3.5 years to go. And hold on, let me tell you something. And I will openly tell you now. And if I knew today what I knew the day before election, half of them wouldn't be there. Half of them wouldn't be there.
But caller, it's 6:56 and we got another show coming up at 7 o'clock. But I always love your contribution. I like everybody's contribution. And this is why, we value you and we value your feedback. But thank you for airing it. Thank you for contributing that it's not just 1, 2, or 3 people. We appreciate you, my dear.
Have a good day.
Yes, take care. Yeah, so we're seeing some of the comments here. Denny is saying the government need to come on this show and have proper dialogue with the public. Damian Henry is saying, Denny, Wake Up the Cayman Islands says the reply to your question was little to no error was detected by AI. It took me about 4 hours each day for about 3 weeks or so. Okay. Damian Henry is saying after getting the golden ticket to the Cayman Islands, who checks these individuals to see if they're contributing positively to the islands? There were no requirements when the golden ticket was given. And even with the transitional clause of this amendment, what is being proposed, none of them would be applicable for the annual declaration for 7 years. So that's water under the bridge. That's gone. Right now, no. There was no, under the current law, there is no need for any declaration to be made for anyone who has status, Damian Henry. So no, there was no checks and balances, nothing, absolutely nothing. For all we know, a number of these people could have been residing someplace else that would be in breach of the legal and ordinary resident requirement, as the law says. We wouldn't know unless you do a mass exercise for everybody that was granted that golden ticket status then, and that would be a hell of an exercise to see their movements and to see how long they have been here. People may be even deceased and they're still there being counted as Caymanians, because if persons don't report that they're deceased and they were one of the benefactors of that status, there would be no way of knowing. So that is a mammoth of a task. Carrie says to Siobhan, thank you so much. Yes, Real Michelle, what about the elderly who are there but found out they've been lying for decades about their wealth? The new legislation mentions fraud, but how is that detected? Danny is asking the Wake Up Cayman, which AI did you use? Carrie says nobody of the 2003 mass status grant was ever screened. Paula, how are you, my love? I like what you say. This government is just like Donald Trump. Hi, Paula. Hope you guys are doing well. It's good to see you commenting. It's good to know that I have you as a supporter, my central peeps. Yep. Well, you know what? This comes to the end of this show. But, at the end of the day, as we continue into the night, please, let us keep asking. Let's keep questioning. Let's keep demanding accountability. Let's keep ringing. Let's keep speaking to slow this down for now, because what's missing and why does it matter? Until Caymanian sees the regulations, look, and have that sense of feeling that their voice matters. Until those 15 amendments are laid out clearly before consultation is not completed if no one knows what this is. And that's why the call is growing louder. You see it, you feel it here. So slow down, share the details, and let the people have their say. Thank you very much for your contribution. It has always been a pleasure. Until Monday, please be safe on our roads. God bless. Mwah. Love you lots. Have a fantastic weekend, guys. Take care.
That's a wrap for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks. Thank you for tuning in and for being part of the conversation. Remember, the dialogue doesn't stop here. Stay engaged, stay informed, and most importantly, stay empowered. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m., same time, same place, right here on CMR TV and radio, where your voice matters and your truth is heard. Until then, Cayman, take care of yourself and each other.
That's it for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks, where your voice matters, your story counts, and your truth is always welcome. Join us weekdays from 5 until 6:30 p.m. right here on CMR TV as we dive into the topics that matter most to you. Catch the show live or on demand at cmrtv.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram so you never miss a moment. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and always speak your truth.